Welcome to another MaxGain Systems installation series video. We will be installing a BNC male crimp-on connector onto RG-58A or Belden 8219 coax. This coax has a single braided shield and a stranded center conductor, making it very flexible and easy to work with. This MaxGain Systems BNC male connector can be easily installed using standard stripping dimensions. Now, let's get started with our installation. We start out by sliding the connector ferrule onto the coax. Grab the BNC male body and line up the top of the knurled grip ring with the end of the coax. Place a mark or use your thumbnail to mark where to cut the black jacket of the coax, which should be 5/8 of an inch from the fresh cut end of the coax. Grab your knife or utility blade to cut around the coax where you marked it. Pull off the jacket you just cut. Be sure not to cut too deep as to cut through the braided shield. We are going to need as many strands as possible later. Cut through the outer black jacket only. Grab the center pin of the connector and line up the base of the pointed end with the end of the coax. Cut the braid back 3/8 of an inch from the end of the coax. Grab the center pin of the connector again and line up the base of the pointed end with the end of the coax. Place a mark or use your thumbnail to mark below the bottom of the center pin, or 3/16 of an inch from the end, to show where to cut through the dielectric. Grab your knife or utility blade to cut around where you marked it. Cut down to the center conductor, trying not to nick or score any strands of the center conductor. Grab the dielectric piece we just cut and pull and twist to the right, clockwise, to make sure the center pin stays straight. Begin spreading apart the braided shield of the coax. Be sure when doing this that equal amounts of braid are spaced out around the coax. Place the center pin of the connector onto the center conductor of the coax. Make sure you have a safe place to solder. When you start soldering, be sure to tin the iron. Place a small amount of solder on the tip of the iron and wipe off both sides. Now, place the soldering iron under the center pin and make sure it is making contact. Use a small amount of force upward and toward the coax to keep the center pin onto the center conductor of the coax. Placing the iron under the pin allows for maximum heat transfer, speeding up the installation process. Make sure to heat the pin before touching the solder to it. The solder must flow inside the center pin. Do not get impatient by touching the solder directly to the iron, instantly melting it. This does not allow for the solder to bond to the work, also known as cold solder joints, which are not ideal. You must let the work melt the solder. It just needs a little bit of solder in the side hole of the center pin to seal it and make a good connection. When done, wipe off your iron and place it out of the way. Grab the BNC male main body and rotate clockwise while inserting the coax through the bottom of the connector. When fully seated, bend down the braid strands over the rear portion of the connector body. Grab the ferrule we placed on the connector earlier and slide it up over the braid strands and the rear of the connector. Look at where the ferrule meets the connector body. If there are strands of the braid that are too long and extend out too far, trim them back with your cutters. Grab your ratcheting crimp tool with the appropriate sized .213 hex die. Open the ratchet and place it on the ferrule as close to the connector body as possible. Squeeze the crimper through its range of motion, successfully crimping the ferrule. Now grab an ohm meter and set it to the lowest ohm scale. Touch the two leads together and it will show you little to no resistance. This is what you do not want to see in your installation. Touch one lead to the body and one lead to the center pin of the connector. My meter is reading that there is infinite resistance, so my installation is in perfect working order. Be sure to turn off your meter when done to conserve its battery. You have just completed the installation of a BNC male crimp-on connector onto RG-58AU or Belden 8219 coaxial cable. If this video helped you, be sure to like, favorite, and subscribe. Thanks, we'll see you next time.